Okay, so the LILJ is joined here this afternoon by the head coach of the Oceanside boys program, Mike Santisteban. Coach, how's it going here this afternoon?
How's it going, Alice? Appreciate you having me. Doing well. It's actually parent-teacher conference here. I'm an elementary school teacher, so got some time, got a nice little window, and happy to be on.
Awesome. Again, just thanks for taking some time here just to kind of talk a little bit about the Oceanside boys program and just getting a chance to kind of highlight the good things that are going on in the community of Oceanside.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Um,
it's a community strong ties with lacrosse, and you know we're uh, we're building things back up the right way, and excited to obviously be going into 2025. Year two for me at the helm, so excited to get things go. To get things going.
Yeah, so kind of first going back just to the previous season in 2024. So that was your first season as the head coach of the program, and Oceanside, a perennial playoff team in Nassau Class A. And you guys once again made the playoffs in your first season as head coach, had
Uh,
11 wins on the season. But
yeah.
just kind of looking back and reflecting on your first season as head coach, kind of how would you assess and evaluate your first season as the head man in charge, taking over the program?
I'll let the evaluations be from the outsiders, in particular, people watching and have their thoughts. But I think just my self-reflection of it is I've been in the program for 13 years now. Whether that was the JV, or a lot alongside as the assistant of the varsity. And taking over as the head coach for me, the one thing I kind of reflect on was just making sure that we were building things out the right way. Formerly I was the assistant coach with Coach Blount, and we really, had a game plan, had a vision, and my one goal was to make sure that I first start with, what is the vision, how are we going to do this, and take the proper steps in doing that. And so the season went as you kind of mentioned. We all too often kind of just stop at the playoffs, stamp. But we haven't really jumped that hump. We have been in the playoffs for I don't think we've missed the playoffs in terms of the being the 5 seed in terms for over 10 years since I've been there. We really have gotten to the same point, and so 11 and 6 was a good record. But getting to that same spot where we were the 5 seed last year, took a tough loss to Port Washington. That 5-4 game really has nightmarish feelings for us, and something that we're really trying to get over as and going into year two. And it's been something that we've been struggling with for the past few years. So it's really the focus. It's the perennial focus for us right now.
Now you talk about like being able to get on that hope, get over that hump, and
Yeah.
that being the perennial focus. Now just kind of like I guess assessing, considering the fact that you've been in the program at least for a number of years now,
Yeah.
and like even though last season was your first year as head coach, I guess how easier might it have been for you taking over as head coach, considering you've been entrenched in the program for a number of years, and like
Yeah.
the players that you've gotten to coach last
Yeah.
season. They're players that I'm sure you've known for a number of years. Just like how did that make that process easier for you taking over as head coach?
Yeah. Yeah, it really was a seamless transition. We have a great AD, Tom Lehman, who was super supportive, and he understood my vision. He understood kind of where the program was at, and the history of it. And I think what we feel like it's going to take for Oceanside to be successful, because you look back in the 90s and early 2000s, and we were very successful, and beating some of those top tier teams was not a problem. And we just had a little bit of a slump, and I think that happens in all the sports. And so it's kind of a little bit of a roller coaster. So the act was, the turnover was fine, and I've had great mentorship and coaches, with coaches that I've worked with in the past. So I felt, really when you take over the head coaching coaching position, it's not necessarily like a 3 month sport anymore. It's really it is year round. So there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of fundraising, there's a lot of management, not necessarily the X's and O's. You don't just jump in and and you're on a chalkboard or a dry erase board and you're doing that. So I didn't feel any discomfort with that, and I've had a lot of help and support with other coaches that I work with. And the players all knew me. I coach football in the district as well. So there was an excitement there. And the feel what I'm most obviously happy with in the transition of everything was just the feeling has maintained, the high energy has maintained. There's a good feeling of lacrosse in the community right now. So I'm happy that is keeping fuel to our to our mission.
And talking about the position being like a year-round thing, not just taking over and not just focusing on the actual games during the high school season. Of course, like
Yeah.
so many other factors, like you mentioned, that go into being the head coach. And it's interesting you mentioned football because that was actually a question that I wanted to ask you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have a number of lacrosse players that play football at Oceanside, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think of, well, we had 40 guys on the team last year. It's over 30 of them were football players. So,
Yeah.
it's a big, our baseball team is very successful. So we lose some guys to baseball as well, but a large relationship between the football and lacrosse for sure.
Yeah, so now like with football season just having finished up now and then kind of looking ahead to lacrosse, like is there any things that you might be doing with the guys, like some off-season training type stuff,
Yeah.
as you're getting set for the upcoming spring season?
100%. Yeah, we've been going since even football was in session. And you obviously, I think with modern, 2024, 2025 is like there's just so much going on every single day. These kids are inundated with work, but they find a time to work, our players. And we were respectful of the kids who are in season and in their sport. But from the middle school all the way up to seniors who are not playing a sport or not in a current sport, they're working with us on September 3rd. We are every weekend we were going, and now after our unfortunate playoff loss of football, we've ramped it up. We're doing lifting sessions as well, but we've been ramping it up, and we're currently indoors working right now, an indoor facility, and pretty much going 4 days a week. Not indoors 4 days a week, but between lifting and indoors, we're 4 days a week right now. Football guys are there, and they know this is our full preseason, and we're activated.
Now, like looking ahead just to the upcoming high school spring season, like what are maybe some of the things that excite you about getting set here to take the field in the 2025 season? I know your roster, you guys have a number of returning players, whether that's in
Yeah.
2025 class or 2026 class.
Yeah.
So a great group of upperclassmen in the junior and senior class. So just
Mhm.
like what are some of the things I guess that excite you in terms of your roster with the guys that you have returning?
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm thrilled about the players that we have. I think it's the most well-rounded, true lacrosse, and high-level skilled players that I've ever seen on a roster in Oceanside in some time. I'm one of the most, important things for me is that we return 8 out of our 10 starters, like true starters. Last year we split 2 goalies, so you can put 9 out of 10 there. They're both returners. Our entire defense comes back. Um, our midfield is entirely back. And we lost an attackman, but pretty much we've had two sophomores playing. Last year we were inundated with sophomores and juniors, and those guys now are seniors and juniors, and they're just huge role contributors. Players just to mention, like Dylan Bender, just committed to St. John's or Lacrosse. He's an edge setter for us. I think truly one of the, and in all seriousness, truly one of the best high school athletes I've ever seen on the football field and in the lacrosse field. He's got a great ceiling, huge ceiling, and I can't wait to see what he does this year. From guys, younger guys like our 2026 Chase Beer, we have another 2025 in Will Perman, and a younger even 2027 Drew Lynch. So our defense is just really built pretty solidly, pretty strongly, and that was what we had last year. And at the midfield line, we were besides one graduating senior, we return our entire midfield, our juniors this year, and some seniors. So super excited about that. So that really, in terms of just even the last couple of weeks since we got back after Thanksgiving, it's been a quick acclimation getting in and out of drills and doing our indoor practices and stuff like that. We've been able to go get reps in, and we're really kind of operating at a level that I haven't really seen and felt. Where there's so much knowledge and they know how things are supposed to operate. It's really player driven right now, so that makes things a lot easier for me.
Nice. Now, just going back to one of the things that you said earlier, just about kind of like that goal of being able to get over the hump in the playoffs, like
Yeah,
when you get to the quarterfinals. Like,
yeah,
how do you go about during the season, just kind of like taking it one day at a time? Because of course, like you have to take every game, treat every game as its own game, and
yeah.
not kind of like get too ahead, like just looking ahead to the playoffs. So how do you just kind of go about just like making sure that the goal is like just taking things one day at a time, you know?
Yeah, it's a long season. I preached that pretty adamantly last year. A lot of the football players, it's a different type of season. We're playing every 2 days. It's a long season. You can't get ahead of yourself. The non-league games versus the league games is a different kind of understanding for some kids. Maintaining health, maintaining all that balance. Um, and last year, so much different than what this season upcoming is because we're in the Power League this year, and sort of the matrix and how the schedule has changed. It was the biggest challenge for me. I think the kids knew last year and know that we have to beat the teams in front of us, the higher ranked teams, the 4 5 3 2 and 1 seeds, and compete with them in order to jump them or ever have a home quarterfinal game, or else we're going to be at that 5 seed, and that's where we have been for the last several years. So they know what that's about. But it's also important for them to be seeing more difficult competition as those non-league games. So, last year, while our record was good, we unfortunately the way kind of the schedule worked out, it was harder to see some of the more challenging teams because of the way Class A was built. So this year is going to be entirely different. I'm excited to see them compete against those teams our level and a little bit above and a little bit
Yeah.
potentially below. And then better prepare us for that quarterfinal game that we know we're gonna hopefully, we're most definitely gonna be in, and to finally, get that victory. Because I think it's a confidence thing. I think high school kids, have to, really see themselves, internalize, and sort of see, visualize themselves beating those next level teams because it hasn't been done in a while. So that's where we're at, and we have to make sure that they keep their focus on that.
Yeah, and being in the power conference, like of
Yeah.
course that brings out so many great games in terms of the level of competition that you
Yes.
guys get to play. So like just some of the teams in Class A, like whether it's Farmingdale or Port Washington or Massapequa, but then some
Yep.
of those other power conference teams as well that may not be in Class A, but you may get to face those
Yep.
teams, whether it's like a Wantagh or Southside. Plain Edge is also new to the power conference
Yep.
this
Yep.
upcoming season. So like just kind of getting a chance to take part in those games and like kind of raise up in class with the competition. Just like how excited are you for that? Just being able to get a chance to kind of use those games as a measuring stick and play against some of the top teams across Nassau County.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super thrilled about it honestly because at first, there was frustration last year with that playing some of those teams that not necessarily don't match us,
Mhm.
and just at a different skill level. This year, being able to play those teams and in it, from a league perspective to see where we're at, is going to definitively sharpen our sword for that playoff match when we go back into class play. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were playing, just through the league play, we were playing Pequot, Farmingdale, Syosset every single and
Yeah.
Port every single year. Last year we got away from that, and didn't see those, and that I think hurt us, helped and hurt us in a way. And then but this year being able to see a team like Plain Edge, Roslyn, we're gonna see Manhasset, we're gonna see Pequot, Farmingdale, Syosset. Those guys are already in our conference as well.
Yeah.
It's good. I couldn't be more thrilled and excited with the class, with the kids that I have right now. And then for the younger, sailors, lacrosse kids in the community to see like, okay, this is what we have to strive to do. Like we're not going anywhere. Like that, we're going to be a power conference team. There's no doubt about it. And that's who we have to raise our level up to play because unfortunately, there were times where we were getting just matched up with some teams that weren't at our skill level. So the committee had did a great job with organizing this, and it's going to be better lacrosse. There's no doubt about it.
Well, Coach, I just want to thank you again for taking some time just to
100%.
highlight and talk about your program. And just thanks again. Really looking forward to getting this out there and looking forward to covering the Oceanside Boys program coming up in the 2025 spring season.
Ellis, I appreciate all you do. You guys are great on Instagram. Everything you guys are doing, LILJ Journal is awesome. So thanks for the time. And yeah, anytime.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.